Buchanan. He served in 3 presidential administrations. He ran for president 3 times. And he's no stranger to controversy. I sat down with him to talk about the world as it is today. We started with how the office of the presidency has changed in recent years.
One of the things that's bothered me most is the fact that the Congress has abdicated its war power. And that's why one of the best things that happened this summer was when the American people rose up and in effect said, we don't want this war on Syria. And President Obama realized that and went to the Congress, and the people influenced the Congress to deny him the authority to take us to war. But I agree with that point. I mean, when the President of the United States says all options are on the table with regard to Iran, he means a military option, an option to attack Iran. Where did the President of the United States get the authority to take us to war with Iran if Iran does not attack us or does not threaten us? He doesn't have it. But this idea of drawing red lines in the sand from the Oval Office is preposterous in a democratic republic.
As a small government conservative, what do you make of these revelations that have come out about the NSA?
Well, we have a big government.
Does it make you uncomfortable? Or do you think this is something that is necessary?
I may not like the world I'm in, but there isn't a thing I can do about it. I mean, so they got my emails, they got my phone calls, they got all the rest of it. You know, I live right across the street from
Well, I think the concern is that they're collecting this stuff and holding it, and down the road, if you do something or if you become a political enemy, they can go back and search it and find something about you.
Well,
do you think that the NSA should have the authority to store this stuff?
Well, no, look, I mean, let me say that when you're talking about taking all the phone records and the email records and depositing them in one giant machine, and so then you can go back through all of this if you find out somebody's involved or some number's involved with terrorism, I can understand the utility of that. And when you've got it, the phone companies have got all the records and they say, just give us all your records. And
that requires a lot of trust for the people who have that power that they're going to use it strictly for counter-terror reasons.
It does indeed.
Well, what should we make of Edward Snowden?
Like Edward Snowden, I guess I took an oath to preserve and protect the secrets of my government and the White House and the President. And I knew a number of secrets about what was going on in Vietnam before the public did. Now,
illegal secrets? I mean, secrets that the public should know about?
I knew we were bombing Cambodia, okay? I knew we were bombing Cambodia long before the nation found out. Nixon told me because I wrote the Cambodian invasion speech with him. And I think I would have been derelict in my duty and I would have been virtually treasonous if I'd gone out and told the public that. It might have created a big uproar on the Hill. And because I had taken an oath to preserve the secrets of the United States.
Buchanan is a fierce warrior on the front lines of the American culture wars. I asked him about his response to polls showing majorities of Americans supporting marriage equality and pro-choice, and court decisions upholding those views.
That the American people have acclimated themselves to what I would call a steady series of defeats in the culture war. No doubt about it, young people, by and large, approve of same-sex marriage. Justices, for example, declared homosexuality a constitutional right. Where did that come from, if not from above? That wasn't the American people demanding that. That was handed down by justices.
So if you have something like under 30-year-olds, 80% of people under 30 support something like marriage equality.
Right.
Isn't that what a driving force is? Isn't it that it's more of a generational change that's taking place rather than a usurpation of democratic institutions? Or?
Well, I think that's the way, I mean, while I don't agree with what is going on, I think that's the way it should go on in a democratic republic. My problem has been things handed down from judges and justices and imposed on the country.
There have been Supreme Court rulings similar that have been just as controversial and maybe not quite ready, that the American people weren't quite ready for it at the time. I mean, Brown versus Board of Education.
Yeah, well, that was overturning Plessy v. Ferguson.
Right, and there were people at the time who would say that this doesn't reflect the will of the people, and we look back at those people as being on the wrong side of history.
Well, they're on the wrong side of history, but that you're telling me is history the moral side.
Well, are you ever concerned that you might be on the wrong side of history? If people looking back 20, 30 years from now, Well, okay.
I am on the wrong side of history.
Well, then how does that motivate you today? If you are concerned
I don't
today that
mind
you
being
might
a
be on the
loser.
wrong side of the
Look,
history.
if you looked at my career, I don't mind being a loser. I mean, I came into politics supporting Barry Goldwater. Nobody got beat worse than he did. And you went on and you moved to Richard Nixon. And we had a 20-year run in the White House.
In 2011, Buchanan wrote a book, Suicide of a Superpower. In one chapter titled The End of White America, Buchanan argues that an America without a white majority in the future could be headed down the road to collapse. He lost his job at MSNBC over it. I asked him if he still stood by the book.
Look, I believe that this country, that the more diverse culturally, racially, socially, ethnically a community is, the less capital there is, social capital of people working together. And I do think a country which loses its moral, cultural, and religious base, if you will, or had it thrown out as America has, and then comes in and embraces various groups and ethnic groups and races and things, into tries to make them one country, I don't think it's going to work.
Would you make the same argument if, say, there wasn't going to be a white majority, but there was going to be a black majority or a Hispanic majority in America?
I think you could get an overwhelming Hispanic majority in the American Southwest, which will have one foot in Mexico and one foot in the United States. I think that's a real possibility. And
would that be detrimental to the health of the United States, though?
I think the United States could. I mean, I don't think we're one country, one nation. You know, the one thing people said to me more than any others on those rope lines you talked to is, Pat, we're losing the country we grew up in. And I think that's right.
Have you ever heard any people of color say that to you on the rope lines, or was it mostly?
I think there's probably a lot of people of color who are, I think you'll find an awful lot of them. Yes, the truth is, yes, you talk to some of them who, I won't say who they are, but it's the crime, the violence, the drugs, the broken families, all the rest of it.
1973, Hunter S. Thompson.
Dr. Thompson,
he had
yes,
written
I knew
about
him
you.
well.
He said, we disagree. He said about you, we disagree so violently on almost everything that it's a real pleasure to drink with him. If nothing else, he's absolutely honest in his lunacy. And I found during my admittedly limited experience in political reporting that power and honesty very rarely coincide.
That's my friend Hunter, who came over to my apartment at the Watergate. I think he later described me as a half-crazy Davy Crockett running around the ramparts of Richard Nixon's Alamo.
Mr. Buchanan, thank you so much for
it's a pleasure.
sitting down with me.
Enjoyed it.